All right, so today we are going to install Tein EDFC Active Pro, which basically is going to give my Lexus ISF adaptive suspension. So essentially what this is going to do is sit on top of the coilovers where you can adjust the dampening. There's little motors you mount in, it communicates to this controller in the interior, and you can basically adjust the dampening on the fly, or with the GPS kit, you can see your speed, see what kind of speed you're going, and adjust your dampening accordingly. So stiffen up if you're going fast, soften up if you're going slow. I also forgot to mention it can adjust based on G-force. So under hard acceleration, hard deceleration, left turns, right turns, it can stiffen up or soften up each corner independently. The EDFC Active Pro is only available on the Tein coilovers. I recently installed the Flex Zs or Zs into my ISF. Click up there. So yeah, it's only compatible with Tein coilovers. So if you have other coilovers, you can't use this particular system. The install for this should be, I say, relatively straightforward, kind of. Basically how it works is you have a circuit in the back for the two coilovers at the back, and the circuit in the front for the two coilovers in the front, and then a controller in the middle, in the inside, in the interior, and all of those things wirelessly communicate with each other. So you don't have to run wires from the back to the front, vice versa. So it should be easier than running cables all over the whole car. So we're going to start in the front, do the motors on the front two top mounts, and then we can start wiring up later once we get the motors on. So you need an 8mm. They do supply you with one, but not the best. So we use this, and then yeah, we'll get started. First up, you want to remove the dampening forced adjustment valve, is what they call it. Basically, with that 8mm there, just do as I'm doing on screen, just undo it. As soon as it cracks, you can do it with your finger. Just take that out. Because we're installing EDFC Active Pro, there's a little hex bolt inside, which you have to remove. You can use this Tein tool, hopefully, and you can just twist it out. If you're not installing Active Pro, you don't need to do this. Here we are. Okay, and then next step, you have basically the same part, but it's in metal, so it can take more resistance, more movement from the motor. You have to put into the top mount until it sits flush. You also need to put in some of the grease provided into there, so it's in the threads, like so, as well as on here. And the idea is to go until it's flush. So you can just rub your hand along and feel when it's flush, basically. And if it's not, you can always undo it a little bit, but that feels perfect to me. So now it's time to put the motor on. Some supplied thread locker, Loctite, on the external threads. Put this on, 3 full rotations. Then you twist this until you feel resistance. I'll show you, and then a couple more rotations as well, but I'll break it down step by step. Step 1, apply the supplied Loctite to the outside thread. Put the hex side of the motor into the top of this. And just hold it there. And then on the top there's a flathead screwdriver. Turn this 3 full rotations. And then now you spin this whole motor onto the thread just until you feel resistance. Don't go further because you can damage the motor. So keep it going until we feel some resistance. It's a bit awkward with this cable. You can see I can just twist it like this. There's no resistance there at all yet. There. Perfect. Now from here, once that's done, you do 2 more full rotations. That is 2. And here we are. And now they say you can twist it backwards and forwards just to confirm there's movement there if you wish. I'm in line with this top left corner here, so from my perspective. So I know where I can return to make sure it goes both ways, which it does. So return to there. And we are good. Finished mounting both the motors in the front on top of the top mounts. Now we move to the back, do the same, and then I'll show you how we wire it up. So again, just the same process in the back of the car. Once you do one, the other 3 are easy because you know what you're doing. It is quite daunting, or was quite daunting. It's actually very easy. So just follow those instructions, or the ones outlined in the massive instruction booklet, and you'll be fine. Right, all 4 motors installed, each corner. Now onto the fun bit, or the hard bit, the wiring. So we need to find a 12-volt power on ignition only, so obviously it doesn't want to drain the battery. Only when the ignition is on, it gives you power. What we've got to do is splice this in. This has got a fuse and everything, all part of the kit. This plugs into the motor, happy days, and grounded obviously. I'll show you in more detail when I'm doing it, but generally speaking, put that into that cable to give it 12 volts, ground it out, plug it all in, and it should work. That bit was done off camera because it was stressful, but basically wired in the 12 volt for the motor from the rear. So if we go down here, we spliced into the amps 12 volts on ignition. So we had to make sure that it only got 12 volts on ignition, spliced into a cable down there. And then we just tested with the multimeter in here to make sure we're getting 12 volts to this. So when we can connect it up to the modules, we know we can get 12 volts. It's important to take note of which channel each of these are going into. I've written it in my notes app, or you can write it down in the instructions manual. We've wired up the rear completely. We haven't hidden the cables and tidied it up, but it's all wired in. It's all working at the moment. So now we're going to move around to the front, do the same, make sure it's all good, and go from there. And then the interior is going to be the tricky bit, but we'll get it done. All right, so now we're wiring up the front. And luckily, because I recently did my headlights, I know exactly where the ignition fuse is. And we have one of these, so you can tap into the fuse, like so. That goes in. And then we use a Japanese bullet connector, this is called, which can go into this, which we've crimped on. Female, male, they go in. Heat gun or hair dryer, seal it all up, and that'll be perfect. So this is all together now. It wasn't actually a heat shrink, it was just a connector cover thing. So electrical tape is your best friend. We just tested this ignition with the fuse jobby. It's getting 12 volts. So this side's all good. Well, the front's all good, the back's all good. Interior time. Bit of a development. So we just removed the center console because I want to run the module into this ashtray because I don't smoke. And we found this, well, this cable which had an end on it. And it's ran to the cigarette lighter and it gets 12 volts in the back. I have no idea what this is for or was for. If anyone's got any ideas, any ISF people or any car people will recognise this sort of connection and how it's fused up in the back, let me know. But take the positives, that saved us some time. It was already wired in, already grounded, happy days. Buzzing discovery, which is what I thought when I bought the kit. This is where the ashtray sits and that is a display, so it's about the same size. It doesn't fit completely in there to where this lid will close. But that sits in the center console down there and it needs to be on a bit of an angle anyway, so that is going to be perfect and I'm absolutely buzzing with how that's come out. It's going to be a nice clean install to drill through the bottom to run the cable, minor, and yeah, it's going to be good. Just need to wire it all up now. So we're nearly there. We have a bit of an issue where the battery's gone flat, so just charging up a jump pack so we can start it and test everything. But in the meantime, we're sorting out this cable, this mess. So we've ran from the fuse and then we're going to tuck it in here. We still need to cable tie and everything, but just want to make sure everything's working and testing before we cable tie everything. Taking off this little induction thing that goes here, taking it off to get more room so we can cable tie. And basically all of this we're nice and neatly sorted and cable tied. And it's important to note when installing these, don't put the metal side down because this is how the signal comes out, is how, I think it's where the heat sink is. So basically they say in the instructions, make sure that's facing up and on a surface it isn't going to move. So we've got double-sided sticky tape, other things to mount this, make sure it doesn't move. And yeah, once the battery's going, we can do some tests. We're just doing the same in the rear, just sorting out the cables. The cable is ran, there's an extension that runs over the top under this, all the way to the other side. It's going to be good. So we're pretty much done in the inside. Lots of testing, the battery died like I said. It's okay now. And if we look down here, yeah, we've got the screen down here, which is where the adjuster is and all the display and everything. I did want it so it can hide, but it can't, but it's minor. And if we come back, we can see the cable. So this is the GPS unit is here. We've double-sided taped to the side of this. One of the signal units and another one of the units is down here. So it's important for these things not to be in heat. I know this is a transmission tunnel, so it can get kind of warm, but it's not too hot. It's important not to have it in direct sunlight or out of a heater, you know, by the heater matrix or anything like that. Make sure all of that's nicely hidden, connected, cable tied, neat. Plug it in, make sure it's all working, and then tidy up the front and the back, and then go for a test drive. Bit of an issue, which I'll explain. It's about 9:30 right now. The rear is not working. Either the amp works or the EDFC works. They can't coexist. Some sort of problem I'm going to diagnose. However, the front and the inside all working. The front we've wired up, tucked the wires in, nicely installed over here. Covers are on, cable tied. Still need the big plastic cover to go over the top. And then do that side. But as always when working on cars, it's not smoothly. It's not gone smoothly. Yeah, I need to diagnose, do something to the back. I don't know what I'm going to do, but I'll put it in the next part of the video. So jump to a couple of days tomorrow. I don't know. It is the next day, as you might be able to tell. And yeah, I've come up with a bit of a solution. So let me talk you through it now. So what I've done, or what I'm going to do, is run this through to the cigarette lighter in the front, because this 12 volt from here on ignition doesn't give enough current to power this, so it won't start properly. I'm a bit of a noob with electrics, you might be able to hear that. Anyway, there's a constant 12 volt here as well, but I'm just not going to mess with the amp because these can go wrong on the ISF, so I'm not going to bother doing that. So what I'm going to do is run the cable through the car to the cigarette lighter. Let me show you. So I'm hoping to run it under that carpet and through there into this cigarette lighter here, which we've spliced open, and I'll correctly mount up, probably leaving the ground in the boot where it is. I'm just going to work on running this cable through the back to the front. I'll show you how I do it. If you're interested, stick around. Subscribe, why not? Cheers. Right, that was the longest thing in the world, but let me show you what I just did over the last 2 hours sweating in the back of an ISF. So I took the bottom row of the rear seats out just to lift it up to run a cable through the back of there from the modules here. This is just precariously hung for testing purposes, all going to be sorted out. Blue wire is there, ran under here, through there, under the carpet, into the center console, and it's ran under the center console to the cigarette lighter. Again, testing purposes will be properly spliced in. Update, just tidying up the wiring back here. I've mounted the unit up there, it's all going to be covered, still going to tidy it up. These are covered now. These rubber grommet things are the most annoying things in the world, but they're on now. This big cable will be under the carpet, so it's all going to be hidden and nicely tidied up. Now moving to the interior. Nice and sort of flush looking, not OE looking obviously, but it's better than just, I've seen some people just put them on the dash, and I wanted more of a sort of proper slot for it, so there works quite well, especially with all the cabling, it works quite nicely. Okay, so we're nearly there. The boot is back together, everything hidden, and everything still works, and it's all back together looking nice. Now we just need to do the rest of the car. Oh jeez. Okay, so the whole interior is reinstalled, everything's back in place. The installation is complete. I was going to do this in one video with driving impressions and install in one video, but considering how long this took me, it's going to be one video, just the installation process. If you want to see the difference in driving, I'm going to do another video on that so I can say what it feels like, how it is, etc. Yeah, drop me a follow, or drop me a subscribe, I'd appreciate it. More content coming with this very soon. Cheers. Sorry it's 2 parts. All right, so we've mounted. All right, so thumbnail.